Hey everyone, welcome back to AFTV. Sometimes I wish we could show you the behind the scenes or just a bit before. Curtis, who knows I'm a big Migos fan, was suggesting I open with ad-libs or whatever, but I don't know why I'd start an AFTV show like that, but it could be a bit of fun.
It'd be interesting.
Well, it would be interesting. Send in your favourite ad-libs. But
what's happening?
No, it's good to have you, man. I know you've just been on the DR Sports watch along. Heartbreak for Japan and Tomiyasu.
I mean, listen, I think we're going to touch obviously on Jesus, but I'm now at the point where I'm like, if you're not winning the World Cup, get yourself home.
Yeah.
I know that sounds really harsh, but
I kind of get it.
I'm gutted for Tomiyasu, but I'm like, get him straight to Dubai. Like, we can't afford any more players to get injured. Ben White's come back. We don't know about that situation. Jesus, obviously. Just listen, heartbreak for him. I think penalty is probably the cruelest way to go out. The penalties were poor for Japan. Goalkeeper made good saves, and it's one of them. Tomiyasu getting back.
James and Curtis is one of my favourite combinations. Big up this. Big up you lot.
Come on.
Thank you so much.
Legendary.
It's a good team up. It's a good team up. We had a good laugh in Orlando as well.
Yeah, very much so.
I mean, again, that's one of those things. Sometimes I wish it feels like there's always a camera rolling.
Yeah.
But sometimes I wish there's certain things that were caught as well. What was the thing we wanted to stop for something? Do you remember?
Is that what was the Jackie joke? Is it that one?
No, there was. It was a bit of a you had to be there.
Yeah,
sorry,
it was one of them.
We sound like we're just talking. Anyway. But we listen. We had a lot of fun in Orlando. Yeah. Are you going to Dubai?
I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. I'm just waiting on one or two things. It's different to pre-season, because pre-season it was like the full squad's there. We all kind of went together as well. Obviously, everyone on AFTV, and with this one, it's a bit like half the team's not there. I'm not sure.
Well, Robbie,
say never.
You know, Robbie's obviously out in Qatar, as you guys have been seeing on DR Sports, doing some amazing stuff out there. Cecil's been doing stuff with Kroenkes. You saw the photo?
Oh, legendary.
I mean, I've got to say, that's as unbelievable photos I've ever seen. It's just, I kind of, you're scrolling through your timeline, I don't really clock. Like, in my brain, I know who these people are and I expect them to be together. And I know Cecil. And then I kind of just go back through it and be like, sorry, wait, what?
Yeah.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about, go check out, by the way, everyone's typing in C Unit.
Yeah.
Is this
It's a bit of a slogan on my channel, yeah.
Love it.
C Unit business, man.
Oh, good stuff. Love it. Anyway, so if you guys haven't seen it, go on AFTV socials. You'll see it there. Cecil was in an LA restaurant. Must have been a nice restaurant, by the way, Cess. You know, we clocked. We put two and two together. The Kroenkes, Edu, Arteta, all just stroll in.
Yeah.
I mean, what are the chances?
I mean, do you know what? It had to be Cecil as well.
No, of course. It would never have been any of us.
Legendary, by the way, that picture.
Yeah.
I think he quoted it like, this is going to break the internet. And I was like, do you know what I mean? What are the chances? I imagine Edu, because Edu obviously would have known who he was. They've spoken a few times. And for him to get the picture with all of them. We were saying, I was going to say off camera, but I think it was on camera. I was like, I wish Turkish was there.
Yeah, you said that on DR.
You know what I mean? I wish Turkish was there, like Stan and Josh walking, like, you know what I mean? That would have been an interesting conversation.
Listen, they would have had some very interesting conversations.
Very.
I've got no doubt Turkish would have asked them pretty hard.
I wonder what Cecil, if he got to speak to them, or whether it was like picture and
No. He said he did chat to them a little bit. He said, I'm sure he won't mind me saying this because nothing that Josh Kroenke hasn't said on camera, but he said that, Josh has said that they, they know that things haven't gone right and they know they want to change things, and that, the kind of stuff we've heard him say in sort of fan forums and stuff, all the right things. Yeah. I won't really say. I mean, he didn't say a lot to me, but Cecil will be back one day to tell the full story. Sure, towards the end of this World Cup. But I think he said Arteta was unbelievably polite and all that. So great. And look, it had to be Cecil. I mean, he's the world's greatest networker. Yeah. Honestly, he is like. I remember when I first started here at AFTV, we started at the same time, him and I. I'd mention just anyone, whether it be someone from Love Island that I watched. Oh yeah, I know him.
Yeah.
Or this music artist I listened to. Oh yeah, I promoted this thing he was on. Like he's the world's greatest networker. Yeah. Honestly, he just is brilliant at building relationships, knowing people, being out and about. Yeah. And it's a real skill, that.
It is a skill, and listen, I think he suits that role. You know what I mean? And this role he's got in the World Cup is brilliant as well. Like, every time he puts a story up, he's at an airport, going somewhere else, man. He's having a great time over there, man. So fair play to him.
Nah, absolutely. Cecil, we miss you.
Yeah, man. Miss you, get him back. We need the full story.
He's doing. Yeah, no, we do, and we will. I'm sure he'll sit down. We'll do. I don't know if you guys saw my Saliba video, but we'll dim the lights, and it'll just be like the day I met the people running Arsenal.
Yeah.
Who else was that? Was it Tim Lewis as well?
Lewis, yeah.
Yeah. I thought he came across quite well in the documentary. Actually, he came across as someone who was just like, no nonsense. Let's
I remember the Aubameyang thing he was speaking about in that. Yeah.
We do have lots of news for you guys.
Yes.
Obviously, we've last week and in the week before, Turkish and I have been talking about lots of things, from our players better today than they were 20 years ago.
And what was it? Sorry to interrupt. You were saying about Arsenal winning the World Cup and that. That was
something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Should we do a poll? Would Arsenal win the World Cup? Fully fit Arsenal team. Would they win the World Cup, do you think?
They would get close, definitely. They could win it. I would expect them to get close because of the team chemistry.
I think it's that. I haven't seen a team that have looked as impressive as Arsenal, as an attacking unit, as a defensive unit. The argument is, if an Arsenal had as much time to prepare as they did, then then it comes more down to player for player, and player for player, they're probably not as good.
Yeah, and then because it's a cup competition, it's like that one occasion. Like, we could play France and Mbappe just rips whoever's at right back apart and we're out. So I think we'd be up there as one of the favourites. I think we'd get close. We could win it, but I'd expect at least like the semi-final.
You could flip it the other way around. Like, if you put France in the Premier League, would you expect them to challenge for it? And again, I don't know what Deschamps is like as a manager over a 38-game season, but with the players they've got, you'd say yes. And you, I guess, would have to trust that he would coach a style of play that would be good enough over 30. I don't know. I think
it's an interesting
some managers thrive at international level, not quite at club level. I don't think anyone can deny that Southgate, I think the doubts around Southgate has always been, can he actually win the World Cup? Can he get over the line? But I don't think anyone doubts that he's actually done a good job, in terms of getting something out of this group of players. But over 38 games, I don't think there's any club, especially in the top 6, that would think, I'd have Gareth Southgate.
Yeah, no chance. No.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
It's a good one.
I want to put yes, Arsenal would. 56% agree.
It's an interesting one.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one. I like this duo since Fortis. Thank you very, very much. Dave says Cecil is a really good presenter. Just don't ask him to read stuff that it gets a bit sticky. Monroe.
Yeah, you can't have everything, can you?
C unit, there's lots of that coming in. What else have we got? We did have a super chat. Let's see what this was from. Tritania says, with Jesus out, let Eddie play. We are paying him 100k for a reason. I think he will do better when he plays with the first team, the least I can expect. Well, a lot of the main ruse is around that. So let's
get into it.
Let's get into it, absolutely. Big up James and my guy C unit. Why is there loads of C's and not just the one C?
No, because remember 50 Cent used to go unit?
I didn't, but okay.
Oh, you don't remember, no? Oh, yeah, you're a bit more new school, innit?
I mean, yeah.
50, man, the chain was spinning. And
Fair enough.
He used to say,
is that where it's from?
So we're going, see you. You got to get with the times, man.
Do you know what? I love that. You've got a full-on, like...
Yeah, but we don't play about.
No, I love it.
Comments got to get taken over.
They're all here.
Yeah, man. We're not messing about. It
reminds me of Nico Milano when he'd tell... He'd tell like the NDL to get into the comments and videos. He'd do some... Yeah, they're just following you everywhere.
Yeah,
love that.
That's what we're about.
Love that. James is young, Curtis. As
yeah, I've got to forgive you, man.
James, come on, man. Bet he loves Taylor Swift. Listen, there's room for a bit of Taylor Swift in everyone's lives. Don't get me wrong, but no, more Migos and Drake. But anyway, I need an update on Jesus this Sunday. Okay, fine.
Let's get into it.
We'll talk about music enough. So, according to Simon Collins, Evening Standard, we know it's a knee injury. He's flown back to London. And he's going to see a specialist. Now, since those rumours emerged when I was, let's say, out and having a good time on a Saturday night,
as you do.
I saw just, the Twitter notifications going off, and it was 3 months out. I thought, where has this come from? We heard it was the thing that gave me encouragement was that they said 3 weeks out, but they also said it was a problem he'd played through. Yeah. Now, typically, when it's a 3-month injury, it's kind of something that's just come out of nowhere. Yeah. Whereas 3 weeks, that kind of makes sense. All right, you carried a bit of an injury, but you played through it, and then you kind of just decide, all right, it's time to take that month to recover.
Yeah.
So I thought, where was this coming? Just before we go into that, what was your kind of reaction when you saw 3 months out? And it was coming from one source, but it was translated by many, and a lot of people were picking up on it. Probably made it felt like it spiraled more than it had.
Yeah. 3 weeks is a problem. 3 months is a disaster, in my opinion. I've said all along, I think 2 main players we can't afford to get injured are Partey and Jesus, because number one, how important they are to this team, and number two, the drop-off in the replacement. I know people saying there, Eddie, 100 grand a week, he's got to play. I get that, and I understand it. Mm-hmm. But I just think in reality that the level is nowhere near the same. So for me, 3 months could have a real damaging effect on our season if this board don't respond in January.
Yeah, so that takes us to mid-March, basically. Yeah. I mean, you're in crunch time.
Crunch time.
By mid-March, you're talking 10 games to go.
Yeah, Europa League quarter-final or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay, that's rough. But obviously, it's not confirmed. The initial reports were that they were looking at 3-4 weeks. Around the knee injury, Saka, and I've got a quote here, but it is slightly, and it's not misquoted, it's just, we actually went and we read the quote, then we went and heard what he actually said, and it's a slightly different tone. But essentially, the message from Saka was, I've messaged him. He's a really, really good player. He's really important for us. Of course, it's not good news, but he meant it more as it's not good news to hear it. Obviously, we're sad, and he wasn't going to sit there and go, "Nah, it's great. It's only 3 weeks." He wasn't going to say that. The reality is that I don't think Saka. I think we always think that players have more clarity on situations than they really do. It's a bit like when we're trying to sign a player. I remember someone getting interviewed very recently. I can't remember who it was. It was someone. It wasn't Van Dijk, but it was someone like that who'd been in the game. And they basically maybe was it even Smith Rowe? Maybe. But he was a big first team Premier League player, and they basically said, we don't hear about signings. Like literally, when you hear about them is when we know that we're signing. It's not like within the club they know a lot. Now there might be the odd thing said or whatever, but generally they don't really know much more. For example, if we sign Mudryk, I imagine Zinchenko would know about it to a degree.
Because he's close.
Yeah, but yeah. So I think it's going to be the same thing with injuries. I don't think we're going to really hear anything. I don't think we're going to hear anything, or the players aren't going to hear anything until it's kind of just all out there. Really.
Anyway, yeah. I think my worry about this situation is, I think usually when there's an injury and then the player's sent to see a specialist, it's like we need more information. It's almost as if the physio's looked at it and gone, well, looks like that, but you're going to have to get a proper scan on this. Because initially, I don't know if you read, there was a report that he was going to stay at the World Cup.
Yeah.
He was just going to get physio. He wanted to support Brazil. Then all of a sudden, he's on the plane coming back with his daughter and his wife, and it's like he's going to see a specialist. So there's obviously a worry there that he might need an operation.
And the thing is, I don't really know what triggers a physio team, a medical department to say, specialist required, because this is incredibly naive of me, obviously, what I'm about to say, but if the equipment's there to diagnose the injury, then you'd imagine that there's almost the kind of immediate understanding of what kind of needs to be done. I'm just guessing here. If it's something a little bit more complicated, is this a case of rest? Is it a case of a certain fitness regime? Is it a case of an operation or whatever? Maybe that's where specialists come in and maybe look at your track record. They're specialists in that area of the body, and they maybe can advise more clearly, because an operation will be what extends it by 2 months. It won't be the injury getting worse or being a lot worse than they initially thought. It's about how they want to treat it and maybe thinking about long term. I don't know, guys. I mean, I could be completely waffling. I'm trying to guess here. Obviously, I don't know, but we need to get Dr. Raj Brar back on the channel, because he's been on and has some fantastic insight. I know you've played the game to a very high level. Have you ever had any injuries that have required sort of specialist checkups or anything like that? Or things
I had a scan on my thigh once, pulled a muscle, and the physio's going, 2 weeks you'll be back. And then I got a scan on it. It was like 8 weeks.
Really?
So it was a lot worse. So sometimes physio, you know, they can only do so much. And,
Yeah.
And I would imagine that physio, they've probably looked at it and done little scans and said, he's going to be out of the World Cup. Get back to Arsenal, because whatever needs to be done, Arsenal will want it done quickly. The quicker he does, if he has an operation, the quicker he gets back on the pitch. So I think that's why they've said get him on a plane, get him straight back. He would have probably been seen today. To be honest, it's just how quickly Arsenal feed it out, because they got to be careful. If they throw it out that Jesus out for 3 months, the price of every striker in Europe then goes up.
That's a really
Arsenal need a striker. He's really 50 million instead of 30 million.
And actually, on that logic, which I think you're spot on, that only really tells you that the longer we don't hear about something, the more chance it is
bad news. Yeah.
You know, if it were a case of, listen, don't worry, guys, it's 3 weeks. We'll have him back for the new year. Yeah, we'd probably be finding that out, and you know, it helps with negotiation, as you mentioned. Has Balogun been recalled? Asked Charles Boltwood. No, he hasn't. Not officially, anyway. I don't know if it's something they're considering. I know Robbie talked about it this morning. It's something you'd be keen
I personally wouldn't do it.
No,
I wouldn't do it. Well. I think number one, he's developing so well over there. Just leave him. And second of all, we're in a situation where, let's be honest, we're in a title race. Whether people think we're good enough or whatever, we're in a title race. I don't think Balogun is the player that we should be relying on to maybe, you know, for 3 months carry this Arsenal lineup.
It doesn't feel fair on him. If we're not willing to bring in a striker in January who we don't consider is so last January, so January 2022, is that the year we're in? I'm sure. Anyway, the time flies. If we weren't willing to lose Aubameyang and bring in someone who we even considered a bit part player for 6 months, because we didn't want to ruin the development of these young players in the future and the direction this club was going in, then I equally don't think bringing back Balogun just because we need to kind of fill the gap for 2 months maybe, you know, considering the rest of December when they're back and whatever, I don't think that'd be fair on him. So I think let's be consistent on that.
Yeah, I'd leave him. He's having a great season. Maybe by the summer you've got a real good player there. So yeah.
Moses says, ciao ragazzi, very, very good Italian. Says, big up Curtis, love your content.
Appreciate it.
James, Eddie does not deliver week in, week out, like Curtis used to for the AFTV football team. I remember your goal.
Good old days.
I remember your goal at the Claude Cup, man. What a finish.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That's a great finish.
They all troll me because I fell over 10 minutes later, but
oh, come on. It was a cut back across. It was very, not the finish, but the movement was similar to that Depay goal the other day. That. And then you just open your body up, found the corner, lovely finish.
So he's a man with stats, and you appreciate the movement. And that's why I'm here today.
If we had the full footage, we'd show the little. He looks like he's going to run to the back post, and he comes back inside, open up the defensive run all the way. He found this pocket of space. Beautiful finish. I'd sign you.
Listen, I'm available, Arsenal. I can 2 months.
That's actually what Cecil was doing at that lunch.
Cecil's having his medical.
I've heard about Jesus. I've heard you need a striker. Before Curtis gets in, let me just put my picture across. Can't blame him.
Done a backflip, and
ask James if he knows about dot-alongs. Of course I know about dot-alongs. Mate. It's one of my favourite watch-alongs of all time. The dot-along was unbelievable.
The dots. They were out of form that day. When I started moaning about the dot, he's put it wide, it's not good enough.
I remember you saying, it's something like this, You basically just went to the chat, you went, I'm not going to lie, guys, this hasn't been good enough.
And you're thinking, he doesn't even know if it's been good enough. Sometimes you just got to freestyle people, you know what I mean?
There. Hell is he pulling this?
Do you know what? I was so happy because we got who did we get? We got Oxford in the FA Cup, but it's been televised because obviously they're a lower team. I was thinking, thank God for that, man, because I need to be. Even the other week, that Brighton game, I was like, surviving. Did you have the
Sky Sports highlights on?
Yeah, and then the stats were just showing up, and I was like, This is a nightmare. 2022, you can't even watch it.
The dot along is world class. We had a read along because we were just reading updates. But fair play to you. That's a proper content creator.
You got to create.
Insomnia says Arsenal were in the same situation 2007-8. We were top of the table when Eduardo got a knee injury and everything went down for. It wasn't quite a knee injury, but your memory is right. It was the Eduardo injury. I mean, that was just a horrible leg break. I remember it so clearly where I was. And that point of the season, I think it was a win and we went 8 points clear of United. We didn't. And it was like, you know, I know no club should be fragile enough that one player gets injured and suddenly it throws everything off. But, you know, when that one player has been at the heart of especially all your best attacking football, you know, essentially gets us the goal against Wolves and gets us the win, you know, it's going to be a massive miss. And if it's 3 weeks out, then you know what, I'll just glass half full. I'll talk myself into looking at the positives. Well, he's not going to kick another ball for Brazil. He's going to relax. He's going to come back ready to go, and he might even get a better break than he would have before. But this is just all mental gymnastics. In reality, you just want him fit, fine, ready to go again. Yeah,
I think my biggest worry is the replacement. No disrespect, and look, there'll be a lot of people in the comments saying, you know, Eddie, and the fact is we are going to have to support Eddie and hope that he can deliver the goods. But I don't think anybody deep down feels like you could trust him for 3 months. You know, if it was 3 weeks, we can get through that. But for 3 months, I'm like, things could change a lot in those 3 months.
Yeah, it's a really difficult one with Eddie, you know. By the way, the poll results are in. Would Arsenal win the World Cup? 55% yes, 44%. So it must have been 55 points, something 44. Yeah. But yeah, 44% no. Fair enough. Oh, so I guess some people see where we're coming from.
Yeah.
You know what is on Eddie? I think the criticism's always been over the top. That's not to say that I think he's the answer and that he can start week in, week out, win us the title. But I think when the team is naturally lacking cohesion, whenever we make a substantial amount of changes in the Europa League or whatever, you know, how can we sort of judge him too harshly on that? And he still managed to find a few goals. Lovely goal against Brighton. Was it 2 in the Europa League? So he's still got 3 goals for the season in sort of fairly limited appearances. He's played on the left a few times as well when Jesus is starting in the Europa League. And you see that Arsenal lost Odegaard and Zinchenko when we played away at Brentford.
Yeah.
Now, I remember people going into that going, there's 2 of our more creative players, even though one's a left back. And we were brilliant that day, absolutely brilliant, because ultimately the rest of the core was there.
Yeah.
So if you told me that we were going to go into West Ham with the same 11 that started at Wolves at Chelsea, but it'd be Eddie instead of Jesus, which that's exactly what it's looking like, I'd say, yeah, well, cool. My confidence shouldn't really be knocked by that at all, because A, as I said, the core is there. B, I think he is good enough, Eddie, to play. With all due respect to West Ham, you're not away at Man City.
Yeah.
I was going to say C, but I think that's pretty much all my points. I don't know if I have any.
Do you know the positive thing? Let's try and put a positive spin on the Eddie situation. Like, if we're looking at it factually, Jesus isn't scoring goals at the moment, and we're still flying. And the qualities that Jesus has got, I think Eddie does have some of them.
I agree.
He's quite quick. He runs the channels. He can hold the ball up at times.
He's a better ball carrier, I think, that he's given credit for as well, Eddie.
So it's not like Jesus is banging goals in every week and then Eddie. So we're not losing that factor. It's just that I think Gabriel Jesus has got a presence at Arsenal at the moment. I feel like even without scoring, he's having a big impact on our attacks. You know, his hold-up play is far better than I thought it was, Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah.
And you just wonder, can Eddie produce that? You know,
and also I don't think it's mad to say that Eddie has now, you know, had another 6 months of improvement, another 6 months of growth, has been, you know, playing with Jesus in and out of training, and I think stepped up for us. You know, okay, we didn't get over the line with top 4, but I don't think anyone pointed to Eddie as being the reason at all.
No.
You know, he scored his goals against Stamford Bridge, which we desperately needed to win and get the race back on track. He was good against United, away at West Ham, which was a tough one. We got through. So he's played in bigger games for Arsenal than perhaps what he'll be asked to do over December and the start of January. But if it is a case of 3 months, then it's actually not even a question of whether Eddie's good enough or not. It's just, the right thing to do is ensure that we have the depth for ultimately a title challenge, which we're in, and with the Europa League when it gets serious.
Yeah, because look, the reality is, even if Arteta thinks Eddie can go 3 months, you can't be a big club and have one striker available. Because what if Eddie gets injured, or what if he's fatigued, or what if he's not playing well? You've got to be able to bring someone else.
Especially when Smith Rowe's had injury problems.
Because for me, if Smith Rowe was fully fit now, I would also consider, can you shift Martinelli to 9 and play Smith Rowe left? But Smith Rowe's not available at the moment. So, in terms of if Arsenal go into the market, I think you've got the option of buying a striker or buying a winger who can possibly play up front, or Martinelli can shift up front. So I think we're going to find out over the next 6-7 weeks how serious these Kroenkes are. I think we're going to find out whether they want to try and challenge for the league, or whether they're happy to just maybe consolidate top 4. At the start of the season, I think they would have said, if you get top 4, we're more than happy with that. But I think the ambition should have gone up a little bit with where we are.
I think when you see opportunities, that's when the ambition then comes through. Are you the kind of person who looks at the opportunity and goes, right, let's try strike while the iron's hot? Or do you stop and go, our timeline wasn't quite this, sure, but when the timeline was being built and the plan, you didn't factor Ten Hag coming in, Potter coming in, all that. Now, Ten Hag, I think, has actually made a good start. Potter's did start well, but it's gone off a cliff suddenly. But these managers will get right at some point. I think they're two very good managers, and it's not Ollie and Lampard, with all due respect. So I think the time for just kind of hoping that our rivals don't really get it right, I think that's long gone now. I think now we've grown at a steady pace, but there's an opportunity here, at least to, because you can do two things. You can spend big this January to give us what we need potentially for a title race, but ultimately, if all it does is consolidate top 4, then great. That
was your target
in
anyway.
Itself is fine. You've not failed, let's say.
And you've got to look at it as well. Look, Man United and Liverpool are up for sale. If Jurgen Klopp gets big money to spend, they're a different animal. A lot of Liverpool fans for the last few years have said Klopp hasn't been backed. They need new midfielders. If he gets that crazy money to spend, Pep signed a new deal. People were saying Pep might leave, signed a new deal. City are going to get better. Ten Hag, I actually think, is a good manager. If they get a new owner. So, like you said, I think you've got to take opportunity when it's there. So, be interesting.
Agree. There was a super chat that came in. Here we go. Young Gunner says, C-Unit and Statman, the combo we never knew we needed. Sign Curtis and Assess on a 6-month loan until the end of the season. Would you be up for that?
Yeah, listen, mate.
What number would you ask for?
Do you know what? I like number 9, but Gabby's got it. But maybe you could just loan it to me for.
Maybe you could just give it to you.
Yeah, just give it to me. You're not going to play for 3 months.
42 for the rest of the season.
Maybe I'll do. Remember when R9 did like 8+1 at Inter?
Did he actually? Was that real?
Yeah, Zamorano had 9, I think, and then he put 8+1.
Was that real?
Yeah. When you're R9, you can do what you want.
Yeah, of course.
You're that good.
Oh, fair enough. I'd take a cheeky 19.
19.
Pepe's gone.
Yeah.
Legends of the game like Santi Cazorla.
Oh.
Lionel Messi wore it at Barcelona.
It's not bad.
I think I'm worth asking for 19.
Yeah, all right. It's not bad. Similar game intelligence.
Oh, well.
You and Lionel.
You said it. You said it, not me. For anyone who thinks we're serious, please,
I know, they'll be on you in the comments.
You know what people are like. Trust the process, says Fuzzer. Yeah, I do. I trust that they'll do. I trust they'll do exactly what they can and have to do this January. Harry Potter in the house, says El Patron. Yes, I am. What else have we got? People are saying get Vlahovic. I think that's moot.
It's not going to happen, is it? Not now.
Nelson has covered the left as well. I just don't think Martinelli up top and Jesus on the left. And Nelson on the left is the answer.
It doesn't fill you with confidence, does it?
You know what it is with Jesus is, I know he's still kind of young, really. He's probably still got another 6-7 years at the top.
Yeah.
But he's experienced.
Yeah.
He has played World Cup before this one. He has, had a lot of pressure on his shoulders playing for Man City, moved to England at a young age. He's been a part of title charges. He's been in Champions League semi-finals. And I think if you're Saka and Martin, you probably take some comfort in that.
Definitely.
Even though, he's part of the youth project and the future, you're like, okay, well, this guy, he's not he's not worried about Bournemouth and Brentford away.
No.
You know, he's all right, whatever, let's do it. And I think that's a big part of it as well. And you want someone who's going to come in, which maybe raises the question as to whether Mudryk really is the right option. But you know, you want someone who ideally has kind of got that same, not aura, but at least experience, at least that kind of same calmness about them.
You make a great point there, because I think he's sort of the leader of our attack.
Yeah.
And I think he's one of the captains, right?
I think he is. I think Xhaka and him are
the two behind Odegaard.
Yeah.
So, and when you look at that attack, Smith Rowe, Martinelli on the left, both quite young. Nelson and Saka, Marquinhos, quite inexperienced and certainly haven't won many trophies. Jesus knows how to get over that finish line, knows how to win trophies. So it's a big, big loss. And like you said, Mudryk is inexperienced as well. Do you want another one, or do you get a more experienced head amongst them who can maybe guide them? So
Saksham says Morata on loan.
I mean, I was saying the other day, Morata is I think Morata's a real hustler, in the sense that when you look at his CV, you're like, how has this guy had that career? Juventus, Real Madrid, Atletico. But me personally, I wouldn't want anything to do with Morata. I know we're a bit desperate, but
you know what I would say? A year ago, I'd have laughed it off. No. Now, not because I watched him much at club, I've only really watched him for Spain. At the
here he goes. You're about to say, aren't you?
I'd drop 40 million. just the 40.
I would not want Morata.
If Jesus were out for 3-4 months or something, and it was Morata or no one, listen, has played the Spanish tiki-taka way, there's experience. Nah, you know what? Not even I can try.
Flopped in the Prem.
You know what? I was trying.
I don't want nothing to do with him.
I was really trying to sort of.
There's better options than him.
No, there are. I was trying to. I wouldn't hate it.
Wouldn't you?
No.
I'd despise it.
Would you?
Yeah, the fact he went to Chelsea. I remember when we signed Lacazette, they signed Morata, and I think United signed Lukaku, and we was all like, who's the better one? And I was thought, they
were all horrendous.
They were all terrible.
No, not Laka.
No, Laka started
Sorry.
Laka got player of the season.
I was trying to get a joke in there. But Laka for 2 years...
Ended badly, sorry.
Yeah, well, he just couldn't score,
couldn't do much.
The first 2 years...
He was good.
He was a lot better than people gave him credit for, man. Quick feet in the box. He was like... He had that kind of ability. He had 3 players around him, and he'd still get a shot off. He was a goal scorer. But yeah, it just fell away, didn't it?
Imagine like Chelsea signing Lacazette now. I think with Morata, it's like, okay, it's the message that it sends out. We're walking around now with our chest out, going, "We're Arsenal, we're top." No,
you're right. We're
serious. You know, we're not doing any silly Willians and them kind of stupid deals anymore. And then you rock up with Morata.
You're right.
For a title charge.
I'm sorry. You're right.
You know what I mean? For an intelligent guy, James.
Do you know what?
You know what I mean?
I got desperate. I got caught up in it. I just thought, you know what? You're right. And there are certain principles that we have readdressed since Arteta arrived that are almost worth more than 6-month loan for 5 goals. Fair enough. Rye26 says Arsenal need to get Kudus and Osimhen. Well, Osimhen, I just think that'd be too difficult. But the Kudus one's very interesting because he has played up front, false nine for Ajax. But you know, my scouting report suggests to me he's more of a midfielder at least. Where was he playing for Ghana for a lot of this tournament?
They played him quite advanced, didn't they?
Right. Yeah. So, you know, I wonder if he's maybe a versatile option. Certainly a good ball carrier. So can he do a job out wide in the same way Phil Foden isn't a winger, but he's kind of got everything you need to just kind of be effective wherever he's put. Yeah. Maybe one to explore.
Kudos, I think we need an out-and-out.
Yeah.
I think we need a proper striker.
He doesn't like any of my ideas.
No, I'm not that happy at the moment.
The way James gave up is funny.
I like it. I've done that a few times with players. Yeah. But then in the end, you just
you try,
just wither away, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, I tried that with Ronaldo a little bit.
Yeah, I know you did.
I tried it.
On the show.
Yeah, I did. I put a case forward.
Well, you know what?
You know what? For 6 months,
if he were 24, you never know.
You know what I mean? I think he's just accepted that Saudi deal, Annie, today, or according to reports.
It's hot. It's heating up so much. I don't think. I mean, I don't care where he goes.
No.
But, you know, he was complaining about Ten Hag not playing him, well, it doesn't sound like there's a massive plethora of options and opportunities there.
Yeah.
So I don't mean any disrespect to any league or anything like that. It's not about that. It's just we know that a lot of the best players want to play in the Champions League. We know that he loves that he's one of the Champions League record goal scorers, if not the record. I don't know if he's better than Messi or not in that regard. I don't think he really wants to walk away from that. No. So I don't know if certain things are maybe just dictating to him. This might just be the next step for you. Yeah. I really thought he'd maybe end up back at Sporting.
I think he's probably looked at the options, hasn't seen what he maybe expected to see on the list of offers.
Yeah.
Agents probably said, listen, man, it's cash out time right now. You know what I mean? Go and get the deal's unbelievable, isn't it?
Something
millions a week.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think it's that time. Alexander
says, "Big up, Curtis. Love your show. Who do you like most, Zaha or Abraham?" I know mine.
Listen, that's an easy one. It's Zaha all day long for me.
I'm with
Number
you.
one, I've never really rated Tammy Abraham, even though he had a good season last year. He started this season quite poor.
Yeah.
I'm talking about getting rid of him. Even though, listen, look, the profile, like, we're watching Giroud in this World Cup, we're going, that would be a brilliant plan B, want a target man, physical presence. I just don't think Tammy is technically great. I just don't think he's great. I've wanted Zaha at Arsenal since we signed Pepe. I used to go and watch Palace quite a lot because I've known Yannick Bolasie for a long time and used to speak to Zaha after the games. He was desperate to come to it. He's a boyhood Arsenal fan, loves Thierry Henry. And I think at the time, Palace had just sold Wan-Bissaka to Man United for 50 million. And they were like, we've just sold a right-back who's had one good year for 50 million. Zaha's the best player. And Man United had this 20% sell-on clause, so they wanted like 80 million, and they wanted most of it up front. I think Arsenal offered 40 and a bit.
God, you remember it well. That is exactly what it was.
And then obviously Pepe, it was like, just give us 15 million, pay the rest when you've got it. You know what I mean? So Arsenal, it fit right into their payment structure, you know. A few envelopes might have gone as well, you know, around that deal, allegedly, you know what I mean?
So when it was 40 million budget, Arsenal have just agreed a 72 million pound deal for Nicolas Pepe.
Yeah.
Sorry?
No, how does that work?
Fair enough.
Yeah, give us 12 up front, pay the rest over 10 years. At the time, we were all going crazy. Now, Lilla, you didn't get the best end of that deal, did you? But no, with Zaha, I mean, look, he's got 6 months left on his deal. From what we're hearing, he's not signing a new contract. He's going to see it
So
out.
It's very interesting because, you absolutely won me over on that Morata debate just there as to why it was a bad idea. Now, a lot of the points you made are applicable to a Wilfried Zaha, but yet he feels different because I won't change my mind on this. I absolutely would take Zaha. I think players now are playing to 34, 35 comfortably, so his age doesn't worry me.
Yeah.
I mean, also you just got to watch him. It doesn't look like he's and losing anything as the years go by. He's only 29. That's supposedly your prime. You can play left, right. You can play up front, but also he can do what you want those players to do in terms of he can hold up the ball brilliantly because he's so strong.
Yeah.
He can run in behind because he's so quick. He can take players on. We have wingers that typically hug the touchline. He could do that and terrorise fullbacks. But he could also, bag goals in big games for us. I mean, I would do that deal. And also, I don't know that as you said, you've spoken to him. I don't know the guy in any personal way, but I can only imagine that he'd be thinking, right, this is the big, and I think he'll go down a Palace legend.
Yeah, definitely.
But he can also just make a real thing of it at Arsenal. Imagine I'm that guy who comes in and leads them to a title.
And you're a fan of the club, by the way, as well.
Yeah.
I think the thing with him, he got the United move, didn't work. Where he was unfortunate is that Ferguson signed him and then left.
Yeah.
And he ended up with David Moyes. And he's always got this cloud over him that, he flopped at the big club.
Yeah.
He wants to prove that right. And listen, he had his best season last season.
Yeah.
14 league goals last year for a guy who predominantly plays left wing for Palace. All day long, I would take him.
Yeah.
Vieira, give Vieira the call. You know what I mean? He's out of contract. Palace don't want him to walk out the door. They'd rather get 20 million or something for him.
That's a great point, yeah. You'd probably get him for 15, 20.
15, 20.
and also there might not be a better time for Palace to do that deal with Eze Olise being brilliant. You kind of got very exciting wingers. I know Eze plays more 10 for them and in midfield, but I don't know, maybe they'd be more willing than ever to.
Yeah.
That'd be very interesting. Well, there's other options being thrown around. Taremi, won by Saksham. He was very good, I thought, for Iran at the World Cup. I thought he was very good in that.
Who's he play for? Porto, is it?
Porto, I believe. Yeah. He was very good in the Wales game.
Yeah.
When they would beat Wales, very deservedly, by the way, 2-0. But I feel like he might be a little too static, a little kind of ball to feet, I'll finish, all that kind of thing. Whereas Zaha, see what Jesus did for that Wolves goal where he came wide and Martinelli was central. Yeah. Zaha could do that. I wouldn't see our fluidity being interrupted by that. Yeah. Others saying João Felix.
I just think it's unrealistic in January.
I agree. There was another one that Ferran Torres was being mentioned.
I think we tried to get him, didn't we? In the summer it was revealed on the deadline.
That's the one I could see us maybe trying to do. They've dropped into the Europa League. Yeah. They've got Dembele, who is, I think he looks outstanding for France. Oh, yeah. And he's just a serious talent. They've just bought Rafinha for big money. They've got Ansu Fati as well. They've got Lewandowski who has to start. So you've got 4 there already. I can't see the Europa League being a competition they're going to go all out for because they are in a title race. Yeah. And I just don't think it adds anything to Barcelona's prestige to win the Europa League. So I don't think they'll feel this need to have some mad depth. So I think they might think, look, if you're Ferran Torres, you're probably thinking, it's worked for Jesus and Zinchenko going back to, Arteta and all that. I don't think Ferran Torres was at City when. Well, I don't think. No, he wasn't. Did Ferran Torres work under Arteta at any point? I don't think he did.
No, I don't think so. I think we already had him. See, the interesting thing for me, I would go for another Barca player, but I'd go for Memphis to play.
Right, mentioned, yeah. And of course they got him as well, so either one,
Either one of them would be viable, really, because they got too many there. I just think with Memphis, why I would go for him, Ferran Torres would be more expensive. They want Depay out. They're saying maybe 5 million. He's out of contract in the summer as well. I think he's played well for Holland in this tournament when he's played.
Lovely thing.
I think he's got a point to prove. Again, went to Man United, left winger, didn't work. Went to France. You look at the seasons he had at Lyon. I think his last season he got 32 goal contribution and he was captain. Even at Barca, goals to game ratio is decent. I'd give him maybe an 18-month deal with like a year option so that if it doesn't work, you can shift it. And that for me would make sense. Because I just don't think Arsenal are going to spend huge money in January. Yeah. I think they're going to look for somebody that is affordable and can add quality. I think that would be a great deal.
Great question from the Zombie Fanatic says, James, footy headlines have just leaked that we might have gold logos on our kit next year. What do you think? Oh, the chats are coming through, sorry. What do you think about us having gold logo on our kit? I think it's cool. It takes us back to 05-06. Listen, I'm in favour of us doing something a little bit different with the home shirt. And I think gold, it typically signals...
champions.
Yeah, something like that. But then at the same time, I remember when Chelsea wore the gold, do you remember the blue and gold? And they had Mata, Hazard and Oscar and all those players. And they just won the Champions League. But at the same time, Adidas weren't to know. Like, you just can't really pre-plan. Swansea wore white and gold before. So I'd be happy for that, just to mix it up. And also, there's gold on our crest.
Yeah.
I mean, the
original one. Yeah. The hybrid one, yeah.
Yeah, but even that
and even the new one, it's got gold.
So I'm not against that. Why not?
I got no problem with it.
Yeah.
We've released every other colour of a kit and training kit anyway, so why not?
Do you know I still don't have the black away shirt?
Don't you? It's sold out everywhere now, I think.
Yeah.
I got that.
I mean, my fear is that come the end of the season, when those price drops a little bit, they just won't even have any. But
I got that. I think I got that all.
Yeah.
I got that early, man. That's a classic.
Do you know what it is with me? I really like it. I don't love it. Like I don't think it's like, I've seen a lot of this is the greatest shirt we've ever had.
No, okay.
And I don't quite think that.
No.
Because I think while it looks amazing, red and white, the home shirts will just always be my favourite. It just always be the most Arsenal. But I guess you have more fun with the away kits.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see if they go for the goal. There is still other news to talk about, guys. But we've been going on so long, just chatting about options and stuff. But I'm glad. It kind of all filters into this other bit of news. But just quickly, Aston, Love to you, Aston. Hope you're well. Says, we should hijack the Nketiah deal. Would be perfect replacement. Seriously, though, this presents a real straightforward test for the club. To you, Kroenkes and Edu, he says. He's spot on. It's a very straightforward test. We've lost a really important player for perhaps a prolonged period of time. We're entitled to the rest we didn't expect to be in. What have you got?
The thing is, I look at, I think, Arteta has learnt from situations. That's why we're seeing a better manager. I was heavily critical of him, but I think he's improved dramatically. Yeah. You look at the Kroenkes, most of us have criticised them. I think 12 months ago, they made a big mistake. Mm-hmm. I think Xhaka was injured, El Neni and Partey went to AFCON. I think we should have signed Bruno Guimaraes. Goes to Newcastle. Then Aubameyang leaves, they chase Vlahovic, didn't get anyone else. So I think they messed up. I think a striker midfielder would have got us Champions League. 12 months later, in an even better position, have you learnt from what went wrong 12 months ago?
Well, also, have you learned, but can you contextualise it? So if their whole thing was, we're not going to waste money on a striker we don't want because we wanted Jesus, and now look at us here now panicking that Jesus is injured, then I think it's very good to look back and us as fans to go, okay, you know what, fair enough. Maybe your long-term thinking was better than our short-term vision.
I get you.
But then at the same time, don't let that then drive every decision. Well, we got it right last time,
so
and
we can,
you don't know who you're going to get in future. You don't know. If Jesus had got injured in the summer, then I don't really know who else we're being linked with. Yeah. So sometimes things do have to fall in place for you. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But Bruno Guimaraes was a big miss. Was when you look. What was it? 40 million in the end.
Yeah.
That feels like a big. Now we're talking about, this is a guy who's played as a 6 for Newcastle. He's played as an 8, and we know that we've needed both positions, covered at some point.
Yeah.
And that's a shame. So, I understand why they're being a bit cautious, but reflect well on what you did well, but. Yeah,
and also the difference is last season we were in a top 4 race.
Yeah.
So Vlahovic was looking at us like, I'm not interested. The Juventus, Champions League, I want all that. We're top of the league now. We're a much more attractive proposition.
I agree, yeah.
I think we can sign a different level of player this year than last year. If I was a player, I'd look at that now and go, ooh, they're playing good football. Arteta signed a new deal. The fans are behind them. Everything's moving in the right direction. Last year, it was still sort of shaky ground. The Aubameyang saga, you might have said, I don't really want to be a part of that. So I don't think the Kroenkes can get away with, we're going to wait till the summer. If you're ambitious enough. When Liverpool wanted Van Dijk, they got him in January. Yeah. When Barcelona wanted Nketiah, they pulled him out. It doesn't always work. I think you have to show that ambition to the fans this year.
I completely agree. I'm so with you. Let's go through the final bits, guys. There are other names being thrown out there: Gakpo, Asensio, and maybe there's a video in this. Maybe we'll get back together and we'll just put out our five best options.
That'd be a good one.
Amy Lawrence with an update in The Athletic. We know she's an Arsenal correspondent for The Athletic. Headline: Gabriel Jesus injury forces Arsenal to face another January dilemma. And what she's alluding to is she compared it's a great article. She compared the dilemmas in terms of Arsenal having, who they thought was their main striker suddenly not available for what potentially might be a crunch point of the season. The other option deemed maybe not quite enough. This was Lacazette and Nketiah. And now Arsenal having this dilemma of, well, do we make the decision we made last year and back ourselves to get through it, or do we add something? And there's some really interesting kind of notes in there, but some of the stuff she mentioned is, this is a quote: going into this winter, Arsenal had firm ideas about how, where and who they wanted to strengthen with this winter. A wide forward capable of a ready impact on goal scoring and goal making is on the hit list, alongside a midfielder who can anchor the team to complement the very specific qualities of Thomas Partey. Now, before I read the rest of the sentence, this suggests to me that Arsenal were keen on doing both deals this January.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad we agree on that.
Yeah.
She then says these were both positions being chased during the summer. So they were also looking to do this in the summer, so it's come through to January. Now, why is that crucial? Because we've often heard Arsenal pick up an injury, they're thinking of bringing their summer plans forward.
Yeah.
This isn't that. This is actually, it's unfinished business from the summer.
Yeah, because you look, the Rafinha bid, Clearly they wanted a winger to replace Pepe. Douglas Luiz would have been the defensive midfielder. So I think Luiz signed a new contract. Rafinha went. So there's still 2 spaces there. They need filling.
Absolutely agree. So then she goes on to say, these were both positions being chased during the summer. Arsenal hold interest in Shakhtar Donetsk's live wire Mikhailo Mudryk and the 21-year-old Palmeiras midfielder Danilo. But there are other names in the frame. She doesn't specify who the names are, but of course you'd expect there to be more. She said that Jesus and Partey, in many ways, are the 2 players are hardest to cover. Now, this injury to Jesus has to be factored in their forays into the transfer market. Naturally, a lot depends on options and affordability. What else does she mention? Let's have a quick look. Compared to Aubameyang's scenario a year ago, it's fascinating to wonder whether the hierarchy might be slightly swayed by Arsenal's surprise position at the top of the table. Not that they are getting carried away, and the mission to secure Champions League football remains the baseline aspiration. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of the stuff, and there's some stuff on whether Kroenkes investment or FFP or any of these things might sort of play a part. But, I mean, okay, so what's this now? We're targeting 2 players?
Listen, we needed 2 players anyway before this injury.
I agree, but did you say part of you just always thought they would just end up looking for the one anyway?
Yeah, I thought they might only get one over the line if Jesus wasn't injured. But I think now there is a definite need to get 2 in. See, the worry is just, clubs, like I said, clubs know now that we're in the market and we need, so the prices will go up. And also, I mean, they're mentioning Danilo and Mudryk. I think at the moment they're the 2 players. If you were going to bet, you'd say they're the 2 they're going to go for. I just have concerns that signing 2 players that are relatively inexperienced, unproven, haven't played in this division, how long are those 2 going to take to settle? Now, Danilo could come in and be Gilberto Silva, Brazilian beast, settles in straight away. He could be Denilson, though. You just don't know. Sambi Lokonga was a big signing apparently.
And I thought he started well as well.
He started well, You look now and you go, where's it going? So I think in January you need a player that can come in and make an instant impact. You haven't got that summer, that pre-season to settle and get to know things. I think we need a player that comes in now. Now that Mudryk, I got to be honest, like when I've watched him play, I'm like, he's a live wire.
He looks serious.
It's just, can he do it in the Prem? Is he worth, they're saying, 60 million euros or whatever for him? So it's going to be interesting.
It is. I'm just giving Twitter a refresh because you know how things always pop up last minute.
Things always on there.
I don't think there's anything. Do you think there's anything on the Arsenal front otherwise? No, nothing else really. Some stuff about live games for Arsenal, but I can't really see much more. Saka on 3 goals. Could he get the golden boot?
I think Mbappe's already got that in the suitcase, to be honest.
I mean, I think so too. Yeah. Unless England stop him.
Yeah. Maybe Saka 2-0 win. Get level to 5.
That'd be brilliant. And then obviously everyone's talking about the future of Jude Bellingham. And we've discussed it on this channel before. But I think with Bellingham, I just think packages would have been prepped in the last 12 months.
City, Liverpool, Madrid. That's the only race that's happening for Jude Bellingham. I think so too. One of those 2.
Yeah, one because of the prestige, one because of the money and what they've achieved the last few years in Pep Guardiola, and the other, I mean, you could talk. I mean, the thing is, those factors are applicable for all of them. But I just think Liverpool are actually the best suited for him.
Yeah.
The type of midfielder he is under Klopp. I think he makes sense there. But we'll see. All right, guys, we're going to leave it there. There was some other stuff on. Apparently some quotes from Romano saying that Arsenal had scouted Yunus Musa, who was in the Arsenal Academy, am I right?
Yeah, I didn't know that until that game.
I recognise the name, but I hadn't really put 2 and 2 together. But sorry, this one from DJS is interesting. Mikel has been quoted saying that he wants to get in players to go straight into the starting lineup. Yeah, I saw that. I don't think, I think we've included that in the title actually of this show. I mean, that is probably something we've skimmed over and shouldn't have. But I mean, it's largely also what I expected. Like, I don't think he's looking for players that he just doesn't trust. I don't think he needs more players. He's like, do I really need to pick you today? I think he's like, yeah, cool. If Martinelli's injured, Mudryk starts, I'm still happy. You know, I think that's the level that it's got to now in terms of recruitment.
No, I agree. Listen, it's crunch time now, isn't it? And Smith Rowe's coming back, which I think could be a huge boost for us.
Yeah.
As Wenger used to say, like a new signing. But we've missed him all season, and he got double figures last year. He's a key player. I think Southgate said he would have been close to the World Cup squad if he was fit. So if you get him back, also Fabio Vieira missed pre-season. If he goes to Dubai, gets time under his belt, he could be a factor as well. But yeah, I just think 2 players would give us a real lift.
Yeah,
I think it would lift the squad. It would show them that we're serious. It would show Pep and all them guys. Because Pep's doing press conferences saying we're not signing anyone, we're not looking, we've got the squad already. So I think we just need that little push, that bit of help. And hopefully Jesus' injury is not as bad as reported,
Well, of course, we will keep you updated on anything, if anything happens with this Musa deal. We know he's been scouted by Arsenal, according to Fabrizio Romano, but we'll see if that develops. And obviously, with Jesus' injury, we'll cover it here on AFTV. Don't forget to check out AFTV in Qatar. Robbie, every morning, letting you know the thoughts from the Arsenal perspective out in Qatar as well. DR Sports covering everything, and there is a match kicking off in 7 minutes. Although it's completely escaped me who it is.
Brazil, South Korea.
Brazil, South Korea, of course, guys. That's going to be very interesting. Shame Jesus isn't there, but we wish him all the best. We hope he recovers. And we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
C Unit.
Pleasure. Jimmy. Jimmy Conway.
I didn't realise C Unit was. I mean, everyone in the comments is loving it.
That's worldwide.
There we go.
Yeah.
You know where to find Kurt on this channel. You're all
Appreciate
here.
it.
You're all here. You all know things I don't know. So there you go. Go check out Curtis Shaw TV as always, guys. We're going to leave it there. A big thank you for joining us. Lots of news today. Let us know in the comment section your thoughts on potential signings, who we should look for, and what you're making of this Jesus deal. Can Eddie hold it down in that time? I think he'll do better than people think. We'll leave it there. Many thanks.